Good evening, folks. Max here. I've been put to task to provide for you folks a high quality and obviously handmade production on how exactly Vanessa and I met and how our first date went down. Well, like most couples, Vanessa and I did meet on the internet on a dating website. Which dating website, do you ask? Well, probably one of the most reputable and wholesome dating websites out there, ChristianMingle.com. Yes, Vanessa and I went on ChristianMingle.com and we had both decided to swipe right on each other's profiles, and it was a match. Yes, I was matched with Vanessa's profile, which was a picture of a beach. I had no idea what she looked like, anything outside of rolling waves, white sand, and a beautiful sunset. Can't say much about my profile picture. Yes, there I am, all masculine on stage, tattoos, skull rings, chain hanging off my pants. What Vanessa didn't know is I was swooning the crowd to Paul Anka's greatest hits. One day, I get a message from Vanessa. She says, I'm sitting at a red light, listening to Metallica, and I'm thinking about you. Well, that was the beginning of the end. Vanessa and I started texting back and forth, night and day and night. I learned a few things about Vanessa. I learned that she was French-Acadian from New Brunswick. Don't let this picture deceive you, she hasn't knitted me a thing yet. I also learned that Vanessa was a flight attendant with Air Canada. Also, that she drove a Lexus. Not exactly as depicted, but it gets her from point A to B. And this was the love of her life. Her guard dog, all 4 pounds of Vega. Yes, this little Chihuahua was her partner in life and was part of the package deal. Before I had engaged in this conversation with Vanessa and began courting her, I was forewarned by my roommate Jesse Savoie, who is a very good friend, and it told me that one of the virtues that is very important to an Acadian woman is to be very upfront and honest about absolutely everything. So I told her, you know what? Every now and then, I like to get together with my friends and have a drink or 12. And sometimes when I have a drink, I like to hack a dart. Who doesn't? Don't judge me. Also, I am in a metal band, so I do like to get together with the boys and make a lot of ridiculous noise and, yes, a bunch of incoherent babbling, but once again, an important facet to my life. Last but certainly not least, I have a huge package that was delivered to the house, Jesse, and I totally forged your signature. I'm sorry. Again, you Acadians like honesty. When it came down to the discussions back and forth, Vanessa had made a very outlandish claim that apparently flight attendants are more crude than linemen are. I tended to disagree, but as we got into the stories, I asked her once, have you ever crop dusted the cab of a plane? She said, what do you mean? I said, well, this is when you fluctuate and tend to walk on by and turn around and watch everybody sitting in their seats start to blame each other and point fingers. She said, why, yes, of course I do this all the time. Did I mention Vanessa was with Air Canada? No, she might be with WestJet. Well, it came time after 1 month of us chatting back and forth to go on our first date. Vanessa had suggested, of course, that we go for coffee. At this point, I'd figured we had messaged each other so much that going for a coffee was rather informal. So I suggested something a little bit more grandiose. I'd suggested that we go to the Calgary Zoo and we go to their Calgary Zoo lights display that they have on at Christmas time. Of course, she jumped at this, not knowing that Vanessa's dad, Paul, had actually taken her mom, Matilda, on their first date to a zoo, which I figured was rather romantic. So I had brownie points and things were going my way. Well, all I can tell you is that the night before the first date, I could not get a wink of sleep. I was absolutely exhausted. I had at this point seen pictures of this gorgeous woman, and I just knew that I had to step it up. Well, the next day I'm at work, and this voice says to me, "You are scruffy, and you don't dress very well. You need to update yourself." So I looked in the rearview mirror of my truck and I was like, boy, I sure could use a shave and a haircut. So what did I do? Shut the crew down early. Told the boys to pack it up and go home. Daddy needed a new wardrobe. So packed up my work truck, headed into town, went straight to Winners, and I went on a spending spree. Yes, I dropped $600 buying a brand new wardrobe for this first date. And then I was very tired and weary and wanted to have a nap before this date, but no, I digress. I marched right to the barber shop and I got me a haircut. On my way to the date, I remember thinking, it is minus 30 with the wind chill. Might be a good idea to grab a couple little Baileys. Something to slip into the hot chocolate. But I decided not to because I would think that Vanessa would judge me as being this raging alcoholic. So I just decided to go to the zoo and be on time. Well, if anybody here knows Vanessa, they would know that Vanessa was dramatically late. Yes, I stood at the entranceway of the Calgary Zoo, watching my clock, seeing faces go by, hoping that I didn't miss her in the crowd. Once again, I heard a voice. "Max, be patient. Enjoy this moment. Your wife is walking through that door. Enjoy this time right now and slow down." So I did what any man would do, and I just waited longer. Lo and behold, the door opens up, and there I see this absolutely drop-dead gorgeous woman, green eyes, and an absolutely amazing smile. And she was smiling right at me, and as soon as we locked eyes, I knew it was love at first sight. You would think at this point that the date would absolutely be flawless and that things were going to go well. Well, we walked no more than 30 meters inside the gate, and there's a woman standing there, minus 30, serving frozen Ferrero Rochers. Well, something triggered me. Vanessa has apparently gone on dates with guys that have got very bad teeth. The one thing that I definitely didn't want to do at that point was eat a frozen Ferrero Rocher, because I just knew that like shit sticks to a bear's fur, so would the chocolate stick to my teeth, and boy did it ever. Yes, Vanessa relished in the fact that I had chocolate glued to the front of my teeth. And what did we do next? Well, then there's a display down yonder. Yes, we got to roll maple and snow. And 0 out of 5 dentists actually agree with this practice. All I can tell you is that Vanessa and I walked around. We saw the lights. She talked. Until this day, neither of us can remember an absolute single word that was said between us. Because all I can tell you is that I was absolutely enamored by this woman. At the end of the date, we walked to the parking lot. We went to go our separate ways. I had looked at her, and she had looked up at me with these sad puppy dog eyes, and she simply said, "I'm not done with you yet." So, to my surprise, the date wasn't over at that point. We continued on. Yes, Vanessa and I went to the brew house, and when we got there, we had a few drinks and appies and reached across the table, and yes, we were holding hands. Things were already starting to begin as we thought they would. And after we were done having drinks and appies, we went out into the parking lot and stood outside with minus 30 weather, and we made out for a solid hour. Yes, we made out behind that brew house for a solid hour, and we didn't care who anybody saw us or exactly what was going on, but we just stayed in the moment. I would imagine after that hour that, I must have been looking pretty sexy. But, folks, all I can tell you is this, is that 1 year after that date that we had on December 18th, I got on one knee at the zoo and I asked Vanessa Boucher to be my wife. And today I am so proud to announce that she is now Mrs. Vanessa McFarlane, my wife, my best friend, my partner, and we are so glad to have every one of you here today to join us in this celebration. Thank you, God bless, and have a great night. Bars open!